Hello, everyone, and we are here with Scrim Central Midweek Clash. Today, we're going to have a scrim between two teams of the same organization, which are Scientist Esports, if I'm not mistaken. We have the S theory, which is string theory, versus X theory, which they haven't really found a use for the X yet, but they're working on it. It should be about 4K average, and we're going to be looking at a scrim starting on Lijiang Tower, and Wrecking Ball will be enabled. So I'm here today. I'm Shredking, and I'm here today with Ninja, who's new to the channel, but we're really hoping to get him in hot. And I think he's ready to go, aren't you?
Yes, I am indeed ready to go. Really happy to be here. I'm actually well hyped for this. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. So Lijiang Tower, new, hopefully technically sort of a new meta, not entirely new, but we might be seeing some Wrecking Ball. I think you said before that you don't really like it to be, well, you don't think it's going to really be very impactful in solo queuing, competitive rank. But we're not looking at solo queue here. So what do you think? Do you think they're going to be running it, and like how?
I think a lot of teams I can't imagine have had a lot of time to play with Wrecking Ball. Considering I mean they'd have had to have done that in the PTR, and that's even less of a competitive environment than normal ranked play. I guess if you can find just regular scrims, these guys are quite fortunate if they're part of the same organization. They can just scrim constantly against each other and try and find the right way to use them. But other than that, I think it would be quite interesting to see if any of the teams whip them out. The control centers, particularly famous thanks to Jesus on his stream, just swinging around in that middle post. But I think it'll be quite exciting to see which of the teams decides they want to run him.
Yeah, very true. Personally, from what I've seen so far in streams and scrims, teams have mostly been running him in a sort of a triple tank dive thing, as weird as that sounds. So there would be, Winston, Diva, Hammond, and then two supports, which is often actually Ana's Lucio, weirdly enough, and then any DPS. DPS is the most flexible thing in that composition. So I'm looking forward to maybe see that, but they're not looking to do it so far. We're going to be starting with a classic dive with Genji Pharah on the one side, and Widow Pharah on the other one.
Interesting. Both Pharaohs whipped out here from both S theory and X theory. Both Pharaohs flying high up into the sky at this point.
Clarify: red side is X theory, blue side is S theory. They're just poking so far, but Tilton immediately takes Spud without the air, so there will be the Pharah missing on the side of the S theory. And they're just going in, taking out, well, actually they're trading out fairly well. Spud was being brought up, and then Winston on the other side is taken down into mutes. So it's really anyone's game at this point, but I think with Relay going down, that might be a good opening to start with here for X theory.
And with Darkling booted off the edge, armor going huge on the Lucio with 2.5 kills if you count the Diva Mecha's half already to his name. He's on fire, massive ult charge so far.
That's a really good rest from just Vera on that Winston there. That probably gave them enough safety to actually cap the points. Of course, Mute is still there, and we have Imperial in there as well, but they're just taken out, and right now they just need to get some ult charge, regroup properly, and get back into the fight. A bit of a scrappy start there. I don't think any team really had the edge for quite a while.
That first pick from Tilnir kind of really started things going, perhaps secured the fight even, because that burned their race really early on in the fight. Infrasights is out, we can see what's what.
Only PK melee going after the barrage, but very well countered by the Genji and Diva on the side of S theory. There comes the Blade immediately to follow by Imperial, gets the D-Mech on the UK Grande, but I don't think he's gonna get a lot more. Darkling, meantime, actually finishes off the Baby Diva, and that looks to be a fairly convincing numbers advantage. Though just Vera again coming in with that Resurrect, so the Diva will probably be online again.
Winston running in with the Primal Rage. He's still pretty much at full health still. So he's got a lot of contesting time still left for him. They can, might be a bit scrappy, but they can still win out this fight. It's entirely possible.
They did go over the point, so any time burned on by Spud with the barrage, getting a 2k on both supports on the side of the X theory. They do bring it back with two others. Oh, but they are stalling out. They have taken control of the point, so any time gained is very valuable here. Diva getting back into Mac. Mute's getting very close to their primal rage, so there's a very good stall potential. They look to get the numbers here and actually take advantage here. That was a good turnaround, and I think it was very well that they split the point in time, because that just means that now they are almost even in percentage already.
S-Theory doing really well to turn that around. Cheeky bubbles as well from both Winstons covering the Diva bombs.
Yeah,
really
I mean,
nice
very well they had them online actually. A lot of Winstons obviously winning their bubble very early, of course. Now X3 not getting themselves over, of course, just going back in. Mute's popping that Primal Rage fairly early. Maybe he gets it. Yeah, he actually gets the knockoff on UK Grande. It was a very well timed. No boosters.
Huge from M3. Yeah.
Yeah, Benji also being taken down here as well. But Beastmaster, you know, just falling to Darkling, that will probably spell the end there. Sometimes you think they can go back in with the Mercy pick. They have switched over to the Brigade now, so no more Widow here. Tilnit really wanted to put a stop to that Genji and the more mobile, especially the Tracer and Spudwith probably as well.
An interesting pick. Brigitte would be quite vulnerable to Pharahs in particular, but it's a very good counter pick. It's very quick as well. I like that.
Few ultimates going out there, not getting any kills, but Mutes get thrown off the map, so not resurrectable. But Grande also being demeched. Darkling falling, so we're going to be seeing X-Theory really taking some numbers advantage in this fight over here. Benji going down the side of S-Theory would probably spell the end of them because they have no healers left. And sure, they're going to be spelling percentage, but they have 99. There's not really any use to give up anymore.
Moonster's just come in to stall, trying to buy as much time as he possibly can, but with no Primal Rage, he can't really stay on there for a long time.
I mean, he didn't need to. They already have 99. There's no reason to stall anymore. Just giving over ult charge.
Although, by the looks of it, not a lot of significant ult charge was gained there.
No, that is true. I mean, UK Grande gets close to that self-destruct, Tilnit getting close to that rally, so that will give them a lot more sustain. Darkling going down early, that's a good pick. We'll get rezzed up just in time before the boop comes in. And the only PK will actually get taken down by Imperial there. Tilnit taking out Mutes though will be a lot of problems because they don't have a res anymore.
And with Relay chucking out the Diva bomb, it went a little too high to catch anybody. X3 moved out of the way very effectively. Valkyrie's out, seems trying to do what they can. Potentially a waste of Valkyrie at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Sometimes you think you can turn a fight there, but they had already lost the res very early to Darkling, of course, just behind that rock on their spawn. And then they couldn't res anyone else after that. So again, the res being used early on the side of S-Theory is sort of being a detriment to their play. Very well played self-destruct there. The only PK taking out Darkling and Imperial PC as well. And yeah, Mutes is going to be trying to stall here with that Primal Rage, but we'll see how much he gets.
X-Theory very, very fortunate with the way that their ults planned out. Very excellent use of them, actually. Not even very good, excellent use of them. They've just come online the perfect time to secure the point for them, and they go 1-up in this best of 3.
I will say though, it was a very close one. I mean, they both got to 99, and it's just, you know, like you said, who is the better ult economy and usage at that point. I do feel that they had a little more value come out of their ultimates. Of course, on the side of S-Theory, we had a few ultimates come out that were a bit questionable, like Benji with that Valkyrie, of course. And the Blades really didn't get that much. Like Imperial PC got, I think, 1 D-Mech on the Diva once, and that's about all he got from 2 Blades. So that really doesn't spell.
Kill credit wasn't even claimed by him, no. It was Darkling that got the kill credit for it.
He got the kill for the actual Diva. Yeah, the mech was claimed by the Blade, I'm pretty sure. Well, I mean, they're gonna go for a little heavier side on the X-Theory here, so it's not a Goats comp, but it's close. Only thing is switching out that 3rd tank for a Pharah here, and the Moira for a Mercy, so it's not that bad. Both teams will still running that Pharmacy, and the dive is still there for the side of S-Theory, and immediately taking out Arma, actually.
M3 really racking up the ult charge very quickly.
That is really good there, yeah. I mean, that is just essentially a 5 win there, because you can't really get back in. The only PK just choosing death, and just Vera just joining him pretty quickly there. So yeah, first point capture for S-Theory in a very dominant fashion. Didn't lose anyone, barely gave over any ult charge. Beastmaster's the closest one, and he's only at 50%.
Excellent healing from the Mercies there. Really enjoying watching this play, actually. Looking to be very coordinated. Usually, the rank I play, I'm a low diamond scrub. I wouldn't run a dive against this comp, but it appears to be running very, very effectively so far.
Yeah, Oli PK does take out Darkling though, and I don't think that will be able to be res because Benji's on a lot of pressure of this Pharmacy. Mutes goes down as a result. This can't just get healed up. And Relay falls. This is a fairly convincing retake, it looks like. Let's see how they can get it quickly so they can get that percentage ticking. It looks like it.
Genji moved a long way off the map, but comes in with the dash. Doesn't last very long though.
No. It really surprised me that we haven't seen that many flashy plays. It's just been very, you know, organized team fights, and it's just, you know, always get 1 or 2 kills every now and then. But it's not it's not a very flashy game so far. I don't know if that's going to change, or if they're just warming up a little bit. But that surprises me a little.
I like that though, because I think particularly if one player or even 2 players bring out the really flashy plays.
That is a fairly good shatter, but a good bubble as well to block it by mutes, and the kills just going back and forth here. Sputwith going down, Tilden going down, Beatmaster as well. There's a rush from only PK. They actually take out Imperial, not that much else though. Again, the ult's not getting a ton of value, so they're just using them all because everyone gets 1 kill. Now, Mutes is stalling with a Primal Rage, but don't know if it's going to be enough here. Looks to be okay, but as Sputwith goes down, there's a lot of the damage gone. Relay will throw out the self-destruct though. Does actually get the only PK, so that is a lot of damage gone now on the side of the X Theory as well. And they're still brawling out on the point here, and I don't really know who's going to get it, but it looks like S Theory has a numbers advantage and will eventually get it, especially with that sound barrier to just cement their
that sound barrier coming clutch simply to secure the fight. Looks to be the focus down that Brigitte. She's stalling as best she can. And there she goes. She's down, killing it down. Get some
more smacks in there. That's still another 10% ult charge if you count it, and plus a few percent on the meter. So 65%, not too shabby to start off with. Then we're gonna get S Theory to come back in again. They are close to tying it up. They're already past that 50% mark.
Quite a scrappy fight we've seen just there, but we've got Earth Shadow coming online. Unless Winston can get a very cheeky bubble involved, then Beastmaster potentially has a free shadow.
Looking for it, but with UK Grande both going down there, so no Zarya with
huge shadow there.
That was a really good one. Does take out the Mercy immediately, and that's just going to be a very clean, cleanup of the make. I've ever seen one. So Beastmaster really just reading the situation, waiting for that Winston bubble, just throwing it down, and now they will have a Graviton and Barrage for the next fight, so that will be even better. Just hold that choke, just make sure it doesn't get eaten by Relay, and they should be fine here. There's really nothing that can stop it on the side of S Theory. No Zenyatta, for instance.
And Just Vera just coming up to his Valkyrie. S Theory, they also have their Valkyrie up as well. They have a lot of ultimates coming up online.
Yeah. There's at least a Deadeye. Actually gets the Zarya, so no Graviton coming in just yet. Just Vera using that Valkyrie, maybe going for a res, but looks to just keep Oli PK alive. Does not manage to do so. And just Vera will just get stunned out of that res, and the point will be recaptured by S Theory. Not a lot of ult used on either side though. Both Valkyries came out, but I think that was the only thing. Oh yeah, the Deadeye as well from
Deadeye that killed Grande there. Clutch play there actually.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've kept track of the ults. They know what.
I mean, there's going to be so many lights. This is going to be Christmas Eve if I've ever seen some. There is Spud with melee with a Barrage. Yeah, not even combo with anything. Of course, they don't have the Zarya, but they do get 2 kills out of it. UK Grande does get the grab out, but does die immediately, and I don't know if it's going to be enough follow-up, and they don't even touch the points. That is a shame. Now, we're on a 1-1 now, so Li Xiang tied up. What do you think pulled it through there for S Theory?
For S Theory, I think the way that they managed to coordinate their dives was just superb. The Deadeye, just to secure that last fight for the point was really clutch. Because if they'd managed to get the grab and the barrage off, that's a map win, easy enough. Yeah,
that was really what we were waiting for. We were like, okay, that's definitely the setup they're gonna have, and they just kept taking out UK Grande really early, so they couldn't use that graph, and UK Grande never got rezzed up as well. So that was, like you say, that looked to be very wise. Now both teams gonna be running heavy here, so see if they match up. I think they're going to have. It's gonna be. It's not even gonna be a mirror, because the only PK will be on the Doomfist, but with on the Pharah, and then we have a Zenyatta versus a Lucio on Arma and Darkling here. They're gonna be poking on those stairs like a lot of teams will do. The only PK going from the balcony, trying to get some people out of there. Immediately goes for the Pharah. I don't know if that's the wisest choice as a Doomfist, but they seem to be just, you know, fine trading out a little bit here.
Both teams opting to run the Grab Dragons as a potential combination here. The Doomfist seems to not be putting into work, but Imperial PC he's putting into some work rather. Oh my god, I'm stammering. I don't want any more of that. But Imperial PC whipping out the 2k there. easy enough to secure the fight.
I mean, they definitely managed to take out Beastmaster quickly enough so you could just take those free shots. And you see that Beastmaster is so far behind on the Earth Shatter charge. Does get taken down himself, mutes. And there's Imperial PC just dying to that dragon, very quickly charged on the side of the exterior. They just gotta walk back in. They've lost their main tank, they've lost a lot of damage here, and now they just gotta try and stall as long as possible. But with Darkling going down, that's a lot of damage, extra damage gone as well from the Discord Orb. Mutes is coming back, maybe he can get something done. Does have the Earth Shatter almost. Does not seem to get it off, and it's just stalling at this point. There goes Benji, and that's a fight win for X Theory there.
PK coming in pretty damn clutch right at the end to secure the fight with the 2k right at the end. And we have both Valkyries online for both teams. We have Earth Shadows on either side as well. This could get very, very interesting.
I mean, you saw it, like the main tank going down on one side just meant the other team can easily win the fight. Now, they do get a trade-off on those shatters, Beastmaster going down, but Benji going down as well, so that's a lot of healing gone there. They do have the Transcendence coming out, so that will probably sustain them for a bit, but now that's gone, there's no healing left. They also have no damage left though on the side of X Theory, so yeah, I mean, you can have a Hanzo and a Mercy, but I don't think that's going to save you for a long time. You can Grande get res though, does have the grab. Don't think he's going to use it here, but at least it'll be a little more health to stall with, and they do even up their percentage, essentially.
Yeah, very close. If Grande had popped the Graviton there, I'd have felt like I was back in gold all over again. It would have been awful.
Yeah, they really they're fairly conservative with their Gravitons though. We've only seen one in the entire game so far, and both teams have it now, so we'll see who throws it out first.
Both Gravitons out either way.
Both Dragons coming out as well, so let's see who gets the bigger value. It looks to be X-Force.
Beastmaster going huge.
Yeah, Beastmaster knows it. He just goes in there because he was not caught in that Graviton. Mutes was. He couldn't swing in their own Graviton, and that just gives all the damage over to X Theory there. And you gotta remember that Darkling had already used that Transcendence to get the point back last time. Now they are coming back in with that barrage, but they do have the Shatter on the side of X-Force. So we're gonna see which dies first. Is it the main tank or the back line?
We'll have to wait and see. Currently, so far, both main tanks back in it. High Noon is
Oh,
out.
the only PK really taking out that flank, taking out both. The pharmacy is down now. Sure, Mutes take down Arma, but I don't think that's gonna really net them a lot of fight potential here. Yeah, that's it. It's the fight's just over there. You know, you lose your Mercy, you lose your Pharah, and you just can't have any of them help out the other. Beastmaster setting up
really
for a.
trying to get aggressive.
Yeah, you see Beastmaster setting up there. I think let's see if he gets the Shatter off. Doesn't look like he gets the back. They spotted him. Yep. Does go down as well as a result. Now the Shatter comes out, only gets Arma, but Arma even gets saved by the stun there.
Dragons
There's the barrage from Spot. Gets Arma, Beastmaster gets res, gets a better Shatter off, manages to get the charge of the Benji. No Transcendence can deal through that. Dragon comes in, and yeah, that's going to be a convincing numbers advantage here for the side of X-Force. It looks to be closing out the map as well. Doof coming in from Sput with. Will he make it? He does make it. Does not get a kill. Gets taken out immediately, and then that will be the point win.
Cheeky emote there from Beastmaster, smacking that pumpkin for victory. I'm a big fan of that emote, actually. I quite enjoy it.
I mean, we've seen these team play 2 stages so far, right? I don't know if this play. Yeah, Beastmaster, like you said, just smacking to that graph, really taking matters into his own hands. You see here, he does not get thrown into this graph. And since Mutes is in there, yeah, they got a better grab off. That's because they usually when you get the first grab off, you have the better grab because the other was a reactive one, of course, from Relay. And then it could just smack into it. Do you think the tank matchup was particularly important in this game, or were there other things you want to highlight?
Tank matchup certainly was important. Although that is quite true across all matches, because if you have no solid tank lineup, then you really can't win essentially. Because if your tanks just die quickly, if they're out of position, if they're not doing what they should be doing, there's no protection for your team. But I'm thinking X Theory certainly had, by the looks of it, well, they were either luckier or Beastmaster is just a better Reinhardt, but we'll have to look and see through the rest of this series. Or I'm quite looking forward for the rest of this tank matchup. I'm a main tank player myself. So.
Yeah, I mean, preaching to the choir here, man. But we saw S Theory pulling out the dive a little bit more than X Theory. They might just be more comfortable in it, of course. But yeah, I mean, since we're going to watch from Gibraltar now, this is not a map that Reinhardt is particularly favored on. So we'll see if if the dive matchup really proves to be a little bit more, maybe the Widow matchup, because we'll probably see that it's maybe a little more favored for S Theory here. We'll have to see it though. So
We will have to see. I'm quite interested to see if any of the teams bring the Orisa out, because particularly for this first point, if you can just make sure that high ground is held on the defensive sides, Orisa's really, really good for that.
I
And
mean,
diving at a Orisa stable point is really quite difficult.
I've actually seen in the Korean contenders, I've seen a team pull out the Torbjorn on first point, and a very effective defense with it. They run a solo support Ana on that. Because Ana can obviously heal everyone from standing in the same position and like quite well. And Torbjorn is obviously on one of those high ground positions with his turret, and you have I think an Orisa, like you said, on this blue box high ground. And there's just a lot of angles they cover with that composition. So the flanks are very hard to do. They have they have a lot of pressure on that blue box, so like the dive not being able to come in. There's a lot of consistent damage from the Torbjorn, as well as the Orisa coming in there. And yeah, that looked to be very interesting. No, both those teams these teams not really seem interested to pull that out, but that is it's always an interesting one to have in the back of your pocket.
Well, you say neither team's interested to pull it out. There is a Torbjorn coming out from Tilnid. I'm sure he's just trolling around in spawn.
Yeah, I mean, we're not looking at the attacker spawn yet, are we?
Out as an attack Torbjorn.
Yeah. We have the Widow Genji on the defense here so far with the dive tanks. Would you personally like to see maybe another DPS or like a third support or something?
Third support does have its uses. I think particularly in terms of card store, if you bring out the Brigitte, that does tend to help out a lot because that provides a lot of healing around the central point, which would be the objective. Problem is, most of the supports aren't particularly flexible in terms of the planes of play that they can get to. Like Brigitte can't really get to high ground, Ana can't really get to it without walking. Three support certainly is very useful. Dallas Field brought it out a lot on this map, with Mickey being the god Brigitte that he is. But it seems to me that they are running a conventional 2-2-2 on this map.
Yeah, it's going to be a mirror matchup dive. Both Widows going to the 1v1. The Genji's trying to get into the back line, and they're gonna try to hold blue box here. The only PK being taken out by Relay, and that will just start off the first push rather gently.
That's a very, very small angle that Relay managed to get onto PK. That was a very impressive shot. I was watching that from his point of view. He managed to just get that. Tilnit sitting in the back here. He's not been able to get that angle off to the enemy Widowmaker, which is key for any Widowmaker, really.
No, and the Imperial PC, like they just get a cheeky dive onto the Zenyatta, armor taken down, does get rezzed up, so they will be able to keep pushing here, but that is their res gone now, so we have to keep in mind that proved to be problematic on earlier maps here.
Excellent boot from Spudwood, actually, making sure that Beastmaster couldn't get any footing on that higher ground.
And you see them trying to dive Relay here. They're trying to get in there, but they're just not managing to get the kill on that Widowmaker. And she just manages to take out the D.Va mech instead. You get Grande falling afterwards. They do take out Imperial, but he gets rezzed up. But we'll have to fight without a mech for a bit, though. That's not going to be back anytime soon.
No, particularly the position he's not particularly close to any cliff. So he can't jump off and reset. He's quite a long way from the spawn, so he can't do that either. He is kind of stuck as Mini D.Va. Fortunately, he is on that higher ground, but he goes down nonetheless.
Relay going down as well, and they couldn't get res because, of course, you know, Benji already using that res onto Imperial goes down himself as well. Tilnit really taking over now, no way to counter him, so he can just stand wherever you want and shoot at everything he wants.
Tilnit under pressure though from M3, however, he's getting booped all over the place, and he goes down.
Yeah, Mute's really doing his work there, really taking out Tilnit. Relay again going down though. The only PK abusing that Transcendence not being there, gets 2 kills. Imperial TBC does get just Mira though. This is still a scrappy fight for the point. And the defense looks to hold.
Both blades coming out from either team. Imperial PC using his just at the end of the fight to secure the defense. Looking to be a solid defense though. They only have just over 2 meters left now for the attacking team, so if you need one more push, should be easy enough. However, looking at that, they failed twice. Be interesting to see what they do differently, if anything at all.
I mean, they have just over a minute left, so they don't have that much time. They do have a little more ultimates in the bank, though, especially the Transcendence could be proving to be really big here. Arma going down immediately, though, so you'll need to get the res if they want to get that. Darkling goes down on the other side, but, you know, the Transcendence, that was their advantage. They do get Benji as well, though, so all the healing gone into the defense. But as I say that, Sput with replies, Tilnet as well going down. That's still a lot of damage left, no healing for the attackers. And, yeah, again, that just looks to be stopping the attacker push short.
PK is still just that he's perhaps managing to escape with his life, but they didn't even have the cart to heal them up on the side of the S theory. So that was really, really well coordinated play. Imperial PC coming out clutch with a consistent damage there.
But they will still have the Transcendence if Arma manages to stay alive this time. Tilnet immediately gets Doven, but Imperial PC gets taken out, not supported as much. The only PK follows as well, but I think he might be able to get res.
Relay really shutting down PK so far during this matchup. They haven't been able to answer him really. His Widowmaker positioning has been really very strong. Spudwit as well, taking out his opposite number. Both Transcendences out. Oh, it's a bit of a mess so far.
Tilnet trying to pull it back though, take out both Relay and Benji. Oh, that self-destruct though, Spudwit just capitalizing on all that movement being gone. They are still trading though, and there's still something left there. Arma's still alive, for instance, a lot of damage and still some healing left there. Both tanks of the defense though, they look to be holding it together. Beastmaster comes back, maybe can stall for a little bit longer. Does look like he's getting a bit low here, and he has to leave the cart. So that's a pretty solid defense there for the S theory. So their map choice really working out so far.
It does appear to me that the Relay shutting down, particularly the enemy DPS, really hindered the X Theory's abilities to try and contain, well, the entire rest of the team, really, but also take control of the cart. It appears that Relay, just his positioning a lot, I'm still amazed at that, really. The small little angles he was able to get, meaning that Tilnet wasn't usually able to shut him down early enough.
I mean, that is the advantage here on Gibraltar, that if you don't get an unexpected advantage as the attacking Widowmaker, there's really not that many angles you can come from. So the defensive Widow can hold a very tight angle, just wait for that one person to show themselves and shoot whatever's red, really. I do want to say that Tilnet did bring it down back whenever he got some picks, and it surprises me they didn't get the first point. They were so close, and somehow they managed to fail to get it. But yeah, a lot of teams just gotten really good at Gibraltar defense. I think this is really a map that has very much evolved since launch. And even though it has a lot of snowball potential, that first point still, like right now, really seems to be the hardest task to get.
I think it's just so... it's really quite remarkably defensive orientated, really, this particular map. Most maps are not for the first point at the very least. But as you said, Widowmakers, particularly high skill Widowmakers, they can just sit in the back corner all day long. If they've got a Mercy and keep them safe, then there's no worries for the defending team.
Well, I mean, you saw that happen, right? So they dove on Relay, and then he got pocketed by both the Zenyatta bubble and the Mercy of Benji. And then what are they really going to do? They have 3 people in that backline that will just get peeled and peeled down. And then your backline dies as well, and there's really nothing you can do as attackers. Now they're going to do their own attack here, going for that bridge, just checking if there's anyone there. There's someone there, so they're not going to go in there. Tilnet holding a very aggressive angle as opposed to Benji did, so Relay did on their defense.
Nice boots there from Grande, making sure Beastmaster can't get a pick, and Tilnet taking out his opposite number should hopefully win out the fight, although the res does come out, but Darkling is down, so it doesn't matter now.
Beastmaster just goes deep, not really that much, you know, with him to help him out. UK Grande does also get DMAX, so they have to be careful now that this doesn't turn on its head here. But Relay does get taken down again, Tilnet as well though, so no Widows there yet, and the attacking Widow will be in a position to shoot first, so we'll see how that turns out for them. Now they're chasing down the supports, Arma also falling down, but they look to be able to back up far enough to be safe.
Arma got very, very low there. It's a shame that the S Theory weren't able to capitalize on that. Great healing there from Just Pharaoh to keep his support up.
It's very, very smart of Beastmaster as well, that he needs to get to safety, but then he just realized we have to hold this blue box. He jumps back up there, and now the blade comes out. They look to definitively just end this fight right here. good blade, good, a lot of damage coming in. Doesn't get all the kill credit, but he's done a lot of damage there, so everyone else just finished it off.
You could tell just by how quickly he built up his ult that he was getting a lot of damage onto a lot of people at the same time.
We'll see a lot of ultimates on both teams.
Mm.
Tilnet has done a little bit more damage, because he's 30% ahead of Relay here.
Yeah, that's quite the advantage that the S-Theory really needs to try and pick up. Relay going for that bold shot there, even with the Imposites.
When they hit each other, so that was very close as well. Relay does go down here, does not get the res up, I don't think. Tilnet's still shooting at Benjay here, does not get the kill just yet. Spud with in the meantime taking down UK Grande's mech though, so we're gonna see if that pays off for them, the only PK going down. So that defense really seems to be taking some hits here.
Trades out from both sides, obviously with Spawn, how close it is, puts the emphasis onto the defensive side. Bomb coming up, but Darkling able to just block it with the payloads. So he manages to escape with his life.
There comes the attacking nuke. Does actually get UK Grande after he's being demeched. Of course, nowhere to run from that. There comes the blade from Imperial. Does not get him with something immediately, but eventually just forces out everything from the only PK. Gets the Tilnet, and that's the map.
Excellent target focus right at the end from the S-Theory. Really, Spudwick getting all the kill credit in there, but it was really team effort there. Very well done to them.
No. I felt there was a little more aggression coming out from the X-Theory on their defense. So they tried to be a little more aggressive to give themselves more time to fight essentially, but they just didn't manage to actually profit off it. So they lost a few people early on, and then they couldn't get back as a 6 in time to actually defend the payload. It worked once, but I think they failed it the last 2 times. And I think that the more defensive posterior of the S-Theory really worked out. They did more of the reactive dive, and that sort of seemed to just have a better defensive hold for them.
Absolutely, S-Theory seemed to be a lot better at kind of catching the X-Theory's aggression, really counter attacks, very effective there, holding their defense for the first point and successfully winning on the attack. We're just waiting to see what the next map pick is. It better be something interesting.
I mean, hey, what map isn't interesting in Overwatch, right?
Particularly at this level of play, for the level of player that I'm at, some maps are pretty boring.
I mean,
a load of people watch the Overwatch League and say, "Oh yeah, we can do that." And
oh,
say,
you can't.
Okay,
doesn't
no
work like
healers
that.
is absolutely acceptable. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, they run it. Oh, they run solo support Mercy. Like solo support Mercy, I'll defend any day. It just depends on what Mercy you have, because you also have the Mercy mains that don't actually play Mercy. But
Yeah.
hey, it happens. You can't blame your team for having a bad matchmaking experience essentially.
No.
It's you can't do everything as devs, you can't do everything as players. That's why looking for group system is so important. People actually using that will know that, okay, sure, you lose games every now and then, but you actually play the actual game instead of just getting this random lottery system going.
The introduction of LFG has been a godsend for me. When not in a team environment, finding a group of players that meet my requirements rather really has kind of helped me climb up properly. Been very enjoyable.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it so far. I've not played enough to really have a proper assessment of it, but so far I know I've liked it. I've had a lot of team experience, so I can tell when it clicks and when it really doesn't click. Now we're going to do King's Row. Everyone knows King's Row. I mean, it's really the original map, but what do you think makes King's Row so good?
I think the tight corridors, really, it's very unique to Overwatch. A lot of the maps are very wide, very open. For a spectator point of view, it's very nice to look at, but King's Row is slightly different. It's very reflective of much of Europe, to be honest. But also, something I did like about King's Row, when Dive was in full swing as the meta choice of the day, back in the time of like Lunatic High's heyday, Reinhardt-based comps were still run through this map because of how difficult it is to effectively dive on this map. It can still be done, of course, with the right coordination and the right skill. But Reinhardt, it's just he's dominant on this map, and it's shown throughout Overwatch's lifespan.
Yeah. It's really what I've always said about King's Row, is that the reason why dive doesn't work is not only because of the tightness, but also because the high ground's not that overly strong. Like we just saw on the Gibraltar, basically everything was fought on that high ground, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't work on King's Row. The high ground's also very small, and most importantly, not continuous. You can't just run from one high ground all the way to the last point, essentially, which you can on some other maps, and that also really helps with like not empowering dive as much. Now they will be running both, of course. This Reinhardt Zarya, as you said, the attack will be running a fire instead of the Widowmaker on the defense, but other than that, it's full mirror comp. So we're gonna see some dragon combos here.
Double sniper being brought out in compositions. I would have liked to see this in a bunker comp, see if we can make that work in a not professional environment. But Relay seems to be putting in work, already taking down Armor. That's a good pick, and the X Theory should probably back off at this point.
Now, Armor really even being a very easy target for the snipers on the side of the S Theory so far. Now we do see Sputnik taking out Tilnit as well, and that's just no res there, so that's not going to be a possibility. We do have the only PK just shooting at those high grounds a lot, trying to really deny the angles of the Widowmaker. Relay has to get some pretty risky shots in there.
Sputnik getting traded out there. Nice pick on the fire, but taken out by Armor. It appears Beastmaster shield's getting quite low. Perhaps losing this engagement against M3. M3 has already got 90%. He's got his Earth Shadow already. That is huge. He takes down 3 with that.
But can't charge because he's getting too low, and Mercy was busy rezzing someone else. So they're trading at the numbers here, and the attackers have the spawn advantage. Still have the res. Beastmaster being res back up, and that's just cleanup there. So Tilnit, even though he goes down, really makes sure that the right persons are down at the right time. First gets the pick on Relay, that has to get rezzed up, and in the meantime they just take out Mutes, who does get a good shatter like you say, but with Beastmaster stealing that shield and everything else happening, that just secured that fight for them.
If Mutes had been able to get that charge off with Mercy down, that may have just clutched out the fight. Very important picks there coming from Tilnit. Great fight.
And now Beastmaster has the Earth Shatter, so see if he can do anything with that. And there's also 2 grabs and dragons up on both sides. Actually, the only PK is on Hanzo and doesn't have a grab, but there comes the
Dragon's coming out from
Sputnik. Bit late. I don't even know if it was necessary, really.
Yeah, it is a very expensive combination. You'll often see it not used in the pro scene because of how expensive it is. Using 2 ults to secure a fight, you can do that with a couple of abilities in real terms.
No, I mean you do see the other PK really switching over to the Hanzo, but you also saw the X Theory easily just giving up that fight. Said fine, we lose our tanks, but at least we'll find it another day, and we have a lot more ultimates, and that they do.
And there come out said ults. Sputnik getting the kill, but it's pretty futile at this point, seeing as the rest of his team is already down.
I think that is a team kill. Yes, we do actually get the horn and the voice line. And Tilnit very aggressively posing to just on that attacker spawn, has the infra side out. Relay tries to jump and gets immediately taken out by that headshot. Like, we call this a selfless push. You just go as far forward as possible into the enemy spawn and just say, if you want to get that cart, you gotta go really far to get it back. Relay does repaint Tilnit here. Yeah, but you have to push it somehow.
Of course you do. Try explaining that to my teammates.
That is very true. Well, I mean, let's not hate your teammates. Let's just be glad that Arma does it here. Imperial PC does get the only PK, and yeah, that is really a defense coming in hard. Arma going low, just Vera going low. They do manage to live. No, just Vera actually going down here. So this is a defensive hold, but they got the cart almost to the point. So one fight will likely secure it here.
S Theory not looking to be too aggressive to force the X Theory out back into their own spawn. Probably would have been a wrong decision to do it, but it would have been nice to see if it made it for an exciting fight.
I mean, they're just gonna go back and forth with this, right? It's really one of those tug of wars. Like, how far can you get it? Get the other team to back off. Sort of a reverse tug of war, though, because of course, you want to get closer yourself.
X Theory look to be regrouped. They're just waiting on ults, waiting for the rest of the team. Let's see what's what.
We do have some dragons coming through here. Don't really see any kills coming through.
Good block there for Beastmaster.
Where did that dragon go? Relay does go down against Tilnit. Tilnit really showing up on the Widow now. Not as dominant of a showing of Relay as it was in Gibraltar. Maybe different map, like you said, tighter corridors, so the sidelines aren't as long. And we do see Darkling actually being behind this, taken out by the only PK. This looks to be a fight. Wait a minute, let's see how long they can stall it out here. Not too long, it seems.
Relay sitting in this very typical high ground.
Spudwith gets 3 kills just because he was still behind them. Actually gets the just Vera and the only PK. And Tilnet as well. So just 3 squishies taken down in a matter of no time just because he dropped behind them. So of course they will have to regroup with their team. So Spudwith did go down, and now we're gonna see some more grab dragon combos here. We're starting with the defenders though, because they have it up.
Spudwith pulling out the Prophet-esque moments on the Hanzo there, just sneaking in behind. That was really quite cheeky. I didn't even see that. I was focused on the Widow and her positioning. Both Reinhardt shields getting quite low, very close in.
There is the Transcendence coming out. Are they going to get enough extra damage in? Yes, they will. Beastmaster going down, but nothing else. An Imperial PC actually gets taken for a ride by the only PK here. They see the Widows just doing their 1v1 upstairs. Shatter comes through, take out just Vera. But there is the Grab Dragon. But this time, it actually gets cancelled out by the Transcendence because there was no other damage coming in. And that is both. Grab Dragon's really not getting much, but the defenders just, well, winning out Vanilla actually. Just having those support ults in time and it was winning out the fight there.
I think that additional damage to kill Beastmaster really helps secure the fight. They can snowball it from there. Really great res attempt from just Vera and the solo shadow denying them that right.
No. And otherwise the Beastmaster follow-up on that graph would maybe even secure them the fight. So it's a good, really good cancelling on the res as well. The Dragon splits up a little bit, doesn't get any kills it looks like. Beastmaster goes a bit low though.
And he's
down. And goes down to Spudwith. I don't know what that charge he was for. Well, he does get rezzed, but that's a res gone for now.
Speaking as a main tank player, I imagine that charge is probably to try and regroup with the majority of his team.
Yeah.
But the res allowing for that shadow to come through. Not much capitalization off it though, as many people went down. However, they are managing to snowball through the fight.
They're just walking through. They're just walking forward, getting everything. That Shatter really got enough there, enough pressure. And Tilnet also getting the pick on Relay was really helping out there. They're gonna try to re-engage. Obviously, you don't want to give the point up this easily. Mutes especially is walking forward, holding that left mouse button. The Dragon will coming from the attackers though. It's a good Shatter for Mutes. Actually gets Armor down the ground, but he has a Transcendence still. Benji does get the res of an Imperial PC, but I don't know if it's gonna be enough because he doesn't have the grab up. UK Grande actually getting very close to that one. Benji getting taken down. The Transcendence is out from the defenders, but it will only prolong their suffering, I feel. There's another Shatter from Beastmaster. Actually takes down the Doomfist and Mutes together, and that's the bad completion there. So Tilnet getting that free fire actually gets 3 in that last fight, including a Tracer.
Very cheeky spot for the Widowmaker there. Beautiful line of sight there. Just uncontested. Nothing they could do from the side of the S theory to try and take care of Tilnet. So he just had all shots of the world. It was like clay pigeon shooting for him.
Yeah, that's really what happens. You know, if that other Widow goes down, you can just set up on a high ground and free fire, especially if there's no dive on the other side. What's really gonna pressure you? Maybe a Hanzo shot every now and then, but they're doable to dodge. Like they're projectiles, so you know where they're gonna be shot, and it's yeah, that's fair enough. And plus, they switched off the Hanzo in the end, anyways. Now switching sides here. Do you think they're gonna be running a different attack than the than X Theory did?
I imagine it'll be much the same, really. You see Spudwith whipping out the Wrecking Ball, but I don't think they're going to run that seriously. I don't think they'll have had enough time to practice with him. In this map, while it's got a lot of high ground, a lot of corridors, I can't see him being particularly effective. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the only PK really preferring that Pharah pick over the Hanzo, generally speaking. So that looks to be where they're going to be setting up on defense as well. Was a double sniper defense from this side of the S theory, but that didn't really work out that well for them. So I understand why they don't maybe want to go for that as well. Particularly Junkrat's generally very popular here, so I'm interested. Like, it's interesting to see that the only PK chooses to go Pharah instead here.
I think at least for this first point, there is quite a lot of open space for Pharah to do work if they're not pressured by any Widowmaker in particular. But considering Relay's performance in the past 2 maps, maybe a risky choice from the X theory, but we'll see how this turns out. I would like to see a Junkrat simply because of the high number of walls in this map, but I'm not going to question them. They're better than me.
Obviously not. I mean, we have a double sniper again coming in from for the attack as well. The S theory. I'm gonna see if they can get the picks to snowball their fight to their advantage. The only PK really gotta watch his angles here.
It appears a tank ball getting one out here. M3 getting charge so far. Although not that far behind is Beastmaster, he does get the kill onto M3.
Yeah, Relay getting taken down too though, so he's turning it back around. Both Beastmaster and Arma going down. Tilnet does hit the re-kill, and Benji also going down. But there is some pressure on the point, although as they say that, like I said, Benji going down really will probably secure that fight here for the defenders.
And with just Vera rezzing up Beastmaster, it is really very important to keep that main tank alive. He is a huge shield, so it does help our team a lot. And if you don't have a main tank, you've got to get him up as soon as possible.
Definitely right over there.
M3 getting pooped deep into the point.
Yeah, he's getting pooped really far, but he just managed to survive with some extra ult charge. Both support also on the attack, really getting up there. Not as the Valkyrie is already out though for the defenders. Beastmaster going down, Darkling and Relay soon to follow though. So the
Relay had a very cheeky position on top there. So the only
I think the only PK really was just, you know, yeah, exactly. It was just over that statue, going very far forward and managed to get the fix, and there's once the charges barrage back up. Relay was respawned though, so it's taken out the Pharah. It gets taken out as a response by Tilnet.
He got his revenge, that's what's important.
Exactly.
Tilnet taking out his opposite number.
They will be able to take, oh, again, and Spud with as well. And Relay again, Tilnet really on fire now.
We need like some crowd cheering right now.
We do. I mean, come on. It's just, you're fighting as a solo sniper against a double sniper. You're still managing to win it out. That is pretty impressive.
I can't see Spudwit on the Hunter being particularly effective as a sniper. I imagine he's used more to assist in the shield break. So that is quite important, particularly with both Earth Shadows online right now.
Relay now taking it on his back. Both the only PK and Tilnet going down. You get Grande Arm, Beastmaster to follow. That's just Vera, and that's a team wipe right there.
Mute's getting the double Earth Shatter onto both of the supports of the X Theory really helped to secure that fight win. A team kill coming out, they'll be able to regroup as a 6 for the second point.
They do all get to have their own closer spawn, so they'll be able to contest rather quickly, but they will still be running this double sniper. So they actually switch over the only PK to the Hanzo. So no DPS ultimates up just yet, and there will be a Dragon Graph combo off pretty soon for Imperial and Spud.
Armor does have that Transcendence though. He should hopefully be able to counter any Crab Dragon attempts as long as he's in it.
Could be, but if you give some extra damage to mutes, and if Imperial has some charge up, that Transcendence is not going to save you, my man.
No, I mean with the changes between, I'll interrupt myself. That is a huge graviton, but no follow-up.
No, they just choose to not go Dragon out. I don't know what Spudwood was looking at. It looked to be looking behind him a little bit. I don't know what's there. It actually looks to be Tilnet. Tilnet went all the way around them and distracted them while they were grabbed. Tilnet actually takes down 2 before going down to Relay as well. So yeah, it was a fairly effective hold. And like you said, the Dragon actually did come out, but I don't know where it went. Because he has used it. Maybe it got cancelled.
It can't have got Ethan. They may have just got the angles wrong.
Maybe he was in the cast animation and then got sniped by Tilnet. That could have been.
It's entirely possible. Tilnet getting that really cheeky angle. Perhaps even saved his team from a fight win.
Gets another kill. Both Hanzo's out of it though, but there's the attackers really coming in with some picks here. Relay turning it up, Mute's turning it up, and the rest just doesn't come through. So just Vera is gonna try to float away, but I don't know if she's gonna make it.
She can't possibly make it out of this alive.
No, Mute's really going for that aggressive press. Oh, that is the tactical crouch there on the Reinhardt. Really watching out for those Widow headshots from Tilnet. You have to though, because he is hitting them today.
He is hitting them. He seems to have gotten his groove, really taking out his opposite numbers. Very, very effectively indeed.
We're hyping up Relay, but Tilnet really is showing up on this map. There goes immediately on Spudwit there. Relay looking to contest, but also gets taken down. So Tilnet really proving that a defensive Widow can sometimes be better than the offensive one. Muse is very low here. Is he gonna get out? No, he's just gonna let himself get killed there.
With the front line from S Theory getting so preoccupied with the X Theory front line, Tilnet's got all the space in the world to just sit wherever he wants.
Yeah, for Relay really can't get as much space. It really looks like the front line of VS Theory is being was being pressured a little bit more. They just can't give as much space to their snipers. Of course, it's a very small corridors. There's not that many angles they can take. But Tilnit is on this flank angle again. Both shatters coming out, not really getting much. There's the first graph coming out from the attackers though. Doesn't get anything, and Mutes actually falls as a result because he went a little bit deep.
Yeah, Tilnit again taking out relays. Filthy shots coming. He's got a very aggressive angle on the left side here from the defender's point of view.
I mean, you saw Spud with an Arma immediately going, like they just stood in the entrance of this giant underground phase of the map. They never really move forward. They just don't seem to have the confidence of, you know, moving forward with their team. And that seems to be a bit problematic here, because is it a tank problem, or is that the DPS problem, support problem?
If Darklin's just sitting there in that little choke point, I imagine might be a communication error. Because if he's been told to stay back, he's very vulnerable to Tilnit, and there comes the dragons.
That's a dragon. Tilnit again though was on this catwalk all the way behind them, like essentially at the entrance of the underground. He missed the shots he was taking, but he got there unseen. It's a big one.
Pine-esque aggression coming out from Tilnit. Really, he's bunged up the ult charge a lot as well. Relay hasn't really been able to get many angles onto Tilnit. He's just been moving around very, very effectively.
They're moving in now, and I think this is going to be a little more favored because they have both support ults up. There is at least the Transcendence already, so they can just move in for free. They do get shattered though, so a lot of their pressure is going to be removed by that. But there's a counter shatter, also big one, gets both supports and the Reinhardt, and that's just cleanup right there. Tilnit finally being taken down by Relay, and that's a team kill. This team though, if they get a good fight, they get the team wipe straight away.
That very, very cheeky double charge kill, doing 50 damage on impact, really helps out securing multiple kills. I mean, I've once secured a 4K shadow. It was completely ridiculous. I had no idea what the fuck happened. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I had no idea what happened.
That's okay. Spudwood getting taken out by Beastmaster there, and then we're gonna be. Well, they're still gonna get a little ult charge out of this at least, but Tilnit again has the angle, takes down Relay, takes down Darkling. And it's just a Tilnit show, really. I mean, he's being enabled by his team, but he's also taking very aggressive angles that his team has nothing to do with. So, yeah, I would really call this a Tilnit show so far.
There's no way any shot caller on a team is going to say, hey, Widowmaker, get this really potentially quite stupid angle, see what you can do. Because that can just lead to death and a snowball from the enemy team.
I would say Relay at this point really should be expecting those angles though. But there comes the Grab Dragon, just takes down 3 immediately, and they don't even get to the cart. So that's X3 with another map victory here. So that is a 2-1 for them now, if anyone's keeping a score. X3 being up 2 here. We're going to see this play. It is the only PK with the Dragon. I mean, you can't really expect them to not get it with the Grab Dragon as well as they pulled it off. Yeah. Here it is nonetheless.
Play there.
Oh, he actually gets a normal kill as well, I think. There we go. Spud did give himself up a little bit.
1 minute break called in potentially before the final map of this series.
Yeah, I think they're doing a best of 5. They might just play 5 regardless, because you know that's just a fun thing. In the meantime, you know, before they get into it, we haven't seen a Wrecking Ball yet. They might have just agreed to not like play him today. Would have liked to see some, but like you said, it's probably not a bit too early. I don't know. If it's in scrims, I would like to, you know, experiment myself. If I was in a scrim right now, I would try it out. There's been a lot of interesting compositions, like I said, that people run with it. But it's good to still see that the old things still work. That makes sense.
Yeah, it is very nice. When new characters are added to the game, they do tend to have quite a prominent shift effect on the meta. Like when Brigitte was released into the game, she just messed everything up. I remember doing my season 10 placements and almost crying. It was awful, just stuns everywhere. But
Definitely.
It appears with Wrecking Ball, he hasn't been particularly impactful. I don't know if I've said this before, but I don't think he will have much impact long term with the game. But we'll have to see.
Well, we'll definitely have to see. I mean, there is that one-shot dive potential that everyone keeps talking about, which is a threat to some degree. But people just haven't really found a counter to it yet. So that's just why people just don't want to run it, because it's just, I wouldn't say boring, but it doesn't really feel right. We've been seeing the tank matchups in general, like Beastmaster and Mutes really having that tank battle going on. Tilnit versus Relay has been a story to follow. Haven't really seen that much here from the off tanks though. Like both, we've been playing it. It's been differing a little bit. I think it was Imperial PC on this
No,
one.
Spudwit versus UK Grande is the off-tank battle, and
Spudwood was on the Hanzo
really,
this time though, so that wasn't really
who's
going
running
on
it?
here.
Was it
I think it was
Imperial
I think it
PC?
was Imperial PC on the Zarya versus UK Grande.
Mm. Well, I think with the off tanks, they're just kind of doing their jobs really quite effectively by the looks of it. Off tanks usually don't get many flashy plays. They do have the potential because they often have really quite high damage output, but they are simply just doing their jobs, grinding their way through as any off tank really should. Kind of
No,
keeping their main tank alive.
it was really hard for them to peel as well because normally you say, oh, you have to peel for the Zenyatta and the Mercy and like do your job there, but then it's really hard to peel for someone who just gets one shot by a sniper. So I
Mm.
guess it's really hard to value their play when they're just their supports just get constantly shot in the head. That might have been a little bit of like an unpositioning from Arma to some degree sometimes, or from Darkling and Benjay. But with Tilna taking those weird angles, that is not that weird that it happens in general.
No, and it's quite difficult to peel on quite an enclosed map because if an enemy sniper really does get that angle, you can't. It's really quite difficult to move because it's so tight, so compressed. You really can't like zip about everywhere, which is kind of why Reinhardt-based comps are kind of dominant on that map. Really slow it down, just all about brute force a lot of the time. Apparently, the selection of Anubis has come out for 2CP map. One of my favorites, actually. Quite dynamic maps. You can run various different comps to win. Should be very
It's been
interesting to see.
it's been a very one-sided map lately. A lot of teams running just running in with that goats comp and snowballing it to second. Still a lot of teams also preferring dive though. Widowmaker still being strong there, but of course if you run in with a 3-3, Widowmaker's gonna have a hard time actually getting targets. So again, it looks to be very interesting what these teams actually go for because they both run both dive and the heavy comps. What's your preferred one? What do you like to run here?
Temple of Anubis, I quite enjoy bunker setup on, particularly for point A defense. So you can set up on this really high ground to the left side and the right side, really, of the first point. You can get a Orisa set up there, a Diva, you can run a Widowmaker, she can run back and forth, Zenyatta, Mercy, she can ping back and forth. It can be very quite effective, particularly against dive, if they want to kill the enemy before taking the point. Then a bunker set up on the top is really quite difficult to break.
I've always had a problem with the bunker setup just because it's sort of similar to everything. You put a lot of eggs in one basket, right? So you put everything up there, and you just have to wait until they come for you. Sure, you can spam a little bit, which is fairly effective, but once they really, you give them a lot of space for free as well. So once they get through this choke, they have all this space to heal back up, you sit around a little bit, and choose an angle of approach. And meanwhile, you just have to sit and wait there. You can't go for them. You cannot even like long range spam on Orisa is not that effective. Like the Junkrat, same thing. I mean, you see it coming from a mile away. You can just dodge it. So yeah, my problem with it is that it's very one dimensional in its setup, and then once it gets slightly broken, it just cracks really easily. I do see the value in it though. It has been fun, and I have run it before, but there are a lot of things you could do potentially against it. I personally would rather throw the Orisa here on the first platform, and then you have a little more wiggle room, you have a little more stuff to do around, and you have a little more hold on the choke. You don't give as much space for free, and the shield will still block for a Widowmaker that's on steel potentially.
That is true. I do like playing quite a lot of Orisa myself, so it's always fun to see other people run him.
I see Mutes they don't opt to go for that high ground defense. Tilnet does immediately start taking that snipe on Darkling, does not get it though, but they are setting up quite far forward, running the Hanzo and the McCree. So McCree coming out here, not a Widowmaker, not a Junkrat. But Imperial does go down quite soon. Beastmaster's following though, does get rezzed up, and Tilnet gets the picks here. They both lose their mercies, and Darkling looks to be under assault as well.
Dear.
So yeah.
Tilnet sitting there uncontested is something that we've seen to be very, very dangerous in this series.
It
that
really
is the weakness
does.
of McCree, though. That one pick meant Mercy had to go in and res. McCree doesn't really have a lot of counter dive options. He has no real mobility aside from his roll. That only moves him 5 meters, so you can't really get away that easily.
And as soon as you get Grande,
but
I think Yuka Grande ate that immediately as well, so there was really no use for that flashbang. Yuka Grande loses the mech, just gets it back now, so they'll have ult charge, but they are getting very close to the blade and infra side here, and the sound barrier not too far off as well. Whereas the defense, they've had to switch some things up, so Imperial PC is now on the Mei. Actually gets the kill on only PK here, Darkling falling as well. But you know, defense trading out here is not too bad, and they get both supports, Benjay falling, but I don't think that's going to be a very big issue for them, because they still have the spawn advantage, they have the Mei, and they take down both offensive tanks.
Bringing out the Mei was often very, very effective in any team comp or any situation, really, because just the area denial that she provides with her freeze, with her wall, and her icicles do a surprising amount of damage, particularly with new updates bringing her fall-off damage to be a lot less.
Oh, it's just no fall-off damage. You can actually headshot a Tracer from across the map now, and she'll just be dead. So, I like it. It is very filthy, but I mean, when are you really gonna hit that ever? It's the same thing as a Hanzo arrow in that regard. It's just a lucky shot.
It's the kind of thing you see in like 0.0001% chance of hitting the shot montages.
You just have to sort of know where Tracer might potentially come from and just hope she runs into it. The wall doesn't actually split anything off. That's a benefit of dive. They can just walk past it. Beastmaster immediately getting Darkling here, so no Transcendence coming out. Benjay does manage to survive, still has that Valkyrie, now pops it. And we're going to see maybe a blade here from the side of Spudwith as well. They are still stalling here, and they are sort of taking out, especially with Mutes going down here. Maybe the res will come in, but Spudwith takes out Arma, so no sound barrier for the defense anymore. Tilnid coming down on that Reaper, trying to get him in there, but Beastmaster following. I think that is that's going to be another fight one here. They really seem to peel back very well. When that dive comes in, they somehow don't manage to lose people really quickly.
I think the Mei helping a lot with that. I know the wall particularly effective, but the freeze just helping to slow them down. And this is a brutal, brutal stagger. It's like almost like G-rated stuff. They're not G-rated stuff.
Wait, yeah, because they got UK Grande out of mech, then she got back into mech, and then they got her out of mech again. So it's a lot of ult charge and a lot of time wasted.
Poor divas, man. They get a tough break in situations like this.
They really, really do. I think the Mei particularly is interesting because she has no, like, her ult is good, don't get me wrong, but her base value without any ultimate is so good at, like, against dive and against a lot of things that's what they're really going for. They do have the only PK on the Sombra now, so seeing what he gets done on that new instant stealth.
Yeah, be interested to see. I haven't seen Sombra used particularly well so far in ranked play, but in a
there comes the Blizzard, doesn't get any freezes, I think, and the Death Blossom just get cancelled out by the Transcendence. The Diva Bomb zones them out, both DPS going down very quickly. Beastmaster on 1 health, does he get out? I don't know where he is.
It does appear that he's able to make it out.
Just Vera as well, those are very low.
Huge with that Transcendence. It's I was watching him actually. He kind of read Tilnid's moves very, very well. Almost predicted for the Death Blossom to come through. It appears
at some point you gotta kind of figure that he has it. Yeah, they're holding on this high ground there, and the attack has to come through somehow. Does get walled up immediately. Now we're going into this Dragon Blade. Tilnid going down. UK Grande falling out of mech here. A lot of damage, not really kills coming in from the Dragon Blade though. They're trading out a little bit, but it's always in the favor of defense, right?
Always. This is a very, very defenders-centered map, this one in particular. But that hack from the only PK onto Relay, I thought that would have been the opening for the X-Series to secure it, but apparently they were able to keep Relay up long enough to get the mech back, and they was able to clean up the kills from there. Very interesting to see. A beautiful play from supports, if nothing else.
Definitely, yeah. Like, Tilnid really not getting as much done. Had to switch over to the Reaper, and you know when he's on that Widowmaker, that is really not not as effective, it seems. So, because they always say when Reaper gets to the point, you have to really try to get him off there. But even when he's getting there now, like you say, the support's just really, getting a lot of value of dealing with him. And the freeze of Mei again coming at UK Grande just has to really start backing up straight away. Gets healed back up though. There is a Zenyatta, immediately gets killed by that EMP. I think PK will be getting out. No, actually gets taken down. And they're trading out. They get both supports here though, but DPS trade out for the attackers. And I couldn't call this one just yet. It is going back and forth, but I do think the defenders will have that spawn advantage coming in back in again. Missing that Mei though might bite them in the ass.
with the S theory having both tanks still on point, there's a lot of contesting power still left for them, and it appears they have secured that defense win so far. Yeah. Just staggering out the rest of the X theory, that is brutal stuff. They're gonna have to wait a long time.
This is about 4 to 5 minutes already wasted on the time bank as well. They started with a lot, but now they're under 2 minutes. They really need to, if they're going to switch anything, they need to do it now. They look to be going into a semi-goats comp, so they will still have Tilnet on the Reaper because he does, of course, have that Death Blossom. But everything else they've essentially switched up, besides the Mercy here.
I think this kind of comp will enable Reaper to be more effective more. However, there is that threat of the main wall, which has just come in from Imperial PC.
Beastmaster not being able to get anything there. Probably also not be able to get res. They are not falling though, all of them. Relay actually gets demeched. They might be able to recontest here, but the only PK going down, UK Grande following, that's just a lot of bodies gone. And defense, again, you know, if you have the numbers, you're probably gonna win it out.
Beautiful walls there from Imperial PC, just shutting off the tank line from the X Factor. Not X Factor, X Theory. Oh boy.
I mean, they have the X Factor to a degree, but they have to still pull it out a little bit on this map. Yeah, so Arma, you know, trying to boop and bop a little bit. It's very close to the sound barrier. Will probably not be too much danger. Lucio being the evasive little boy he is.
Yeah, he's fast, man. Like, he's probably
fast.
Gonna get staggered.
Tilnet does get taken out, though. Where was he even? That was not a good teleport I think he did there.
Well, his teleport for a long time. Do you remember when it was, like, louder alt sound cue? Like,
it's
that was
not
really
as loud anymore. I mean, he has
not that loud, but it's loud.
They have the full Christmas light display on the side of the S theory, so I don't think they'll be losing a lot here. But there's a lot of ults coming in as well from the attackers, so this is going to be a true ult fiesta. It's gonna be like the 4th of July, which wasn't that long ago actually.
This is going to be potentially very scrappy fights. Blades are coming out, all the ults coming out.
Reaper actually getting frozen mid Death Blossom. And they do take out both Beastmaster, Arma, and just Vera, so both the main tank and the support's gone on the attacker side. You get Grande following, almost had that grab up as well. That is just it's just a shame. I mean, they did have an ult disadvantage, so it's not too surprising they lost that. But still, it was, it looked like they were really running into a wall, and that was not just the May wall. That was brick, steel, blood, flesh, everything. All the walls were just pulled up there.
Yeah, it wasn't very pretty for the X theory there. A very effective ult management again from the S theory. Really coming in on as the attackers against 6 ults. No matter what those ults are, that's going to be difficult. Particularly when you're getting more value from them as the defenders than you are the attackers. Definitely.
I mean, we did see the May come out, and the May was popular on Anubis as a map. It's been very popular on Hanamura. I mean, the buffs really seem to be working out because he was doing a lot of work on that May, always being in the front line, freezing someone, walling the right people off. I mean, sure, they got past a few walls, but then there was still a lot of obstacles left. And you mentioned the support's really doing well on the side of the defenders here, so Darkling and Ben J. Was it mostly Darkling doing a lot of peeling and then Ben J helping him out, or what was going on there?
I think from watching it kind of as a kind of high up point of view, Darkling bringing out the Transcendences really at the right time. He hasn't been at fault much with his Transcendences so far during this series. So that was very effective. And Ben J also, his res timing's been, I think, probably more effective than Just Vera. He's probably resing them at the right time rather than resing mid-fight when the healing's perhaps more important. And Ben J's been able to zip around to the right targets to keep them alive. And then Darkling's been able to pocket Ben J to keep him alive. And it's just been a really, really great duo to watch, actually.
Yeah. I mean, Arma and just Vera will have something to work on there, but they are pulling out the triple tank defense here with a solo heal on just Vera. So maybe Arma being a little more effective on that Roadhog. We'll see what happens there. They're gonna run full dive on the attack, so there will be, you know, a hard dive versus, well, in fact, essentially no dive besides the D.Va to a degree.
This is going to be a very, very difficult egg to crack from the attacking side. Tilnet already taking down Imperial PC. That's not very good for Estir.
I mean, Tilnet really putting, you know, the tilt back into his name. Trying to tilt that opposition by getting all those picks again. Relay getting
I wasn't expecting that kind of joke.
Nah, I mean, hey, I can pull it out.
Pull out the XDs. Why not?
Of course, yeah. I mean, hey, we're a casual channel here. You can do these things, especially on the mixed week clash, because it's not. I mean, they're scrimming, they're having fun as well, even though it is practice. Now they're switching up a little bit here. So Imperial PC will go into that Hanzo, and they will go for the combo here. So Hanzo Genji, both bros out there with Zarya Reinhardt. Interesting composition. I don't see a lot of this.
Look at him sneaking off to the back. He already takes out Tilnit.
Spud, we've seen him on those flanks, and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna deal with Tilnit. Relay not really being that matchup anymore. He's now on the Zarya. They do take out just Vera as well, so that's just the healing and a lot of damage gone. Benjay falls, so the only healing on the attacker side. No, Darkling is still there. Never mind. Arma is alive with the big belly, but I think that even that's sustained.
Oh,
I'm actually surprised.
That was just spiteful. I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you can't take out half the family. You have to take both with them, you know?
As Widow versus Reinhardt here, this is...
Wait, Tilnit is actually still there. He does get taken out, but there's another contest coming in. They're really looking to waste some time, and especially with the only PK's Riptire coming in, that might be a hold.
Riptire coming over the top.
It comes over the top, gets 2
from PK, but it's not enough.
At least it will stop the snowball though, because they can't just start running in straight away now. They have to wait for those respawns that will give the defense a lot of time to set up. Maybe there was some merit to that after all.
Maybe there was some merit indeed.
And it looks like he was going to
have called anyway. That if I was shot calling. However, looking back on it now from this perspective, it does have its merit, because it's wasted almost 20 seconds for the S series for their attack.
And it gives the only PK a chance to switch back to the Brigitte side. If he was going to do that anyways, then you might as well use the Riptire there. So that might not even have been a bad whip to Riptire in hindsight.
Grande trying to grab some extra little ult charge from the support to the S series.
Beastmaster very close to that old Mutes also has a shatter though, but he doesn't have a barrier of his own. They're not really pulling off the hold hook combo that well so far, so I'm looking to see if they can do a little bit more of that.
See, particularly against Reinhardt, the whole hook combo isn't all that effective because Reinhardt moves with his shields. It just means
I think I heard a dragon
really
in there, or it was a blade.
Spudwick getting shut down immediately. The stun from Oli PK allowing Tilnit to get the headshot. Really shutting down that blade. That was never going to work very well.
I mean, we see some blues going down, we see some red going down, but as long as blue is more prominent on the right side, we'll be fine as the defenders here. PK already on that. He's already on that rally, and I think that was really the way they wanted to switch that off. They knew Spudwick was probably close to the Dragon Blades. So they're like, okay, you're gonna keep on the Genji. You just wait until he's there, and just take him out. Tilnit's now on the McCree though, so that's an interesting choice. You were talking about McCree being very easy to dive. Do you think he's as easy to target in this composition?
I mean, if he's got enough protection from a lot of high HP targets, such as the tanks running from the X theory, I think McCree's got a greater chance of being more successful here. Particularly if he sticks up in this back left corner, looking from the defender's point of view, he's pretty safe from basically all angles.
That was just a zoning ultimate, I think, there. Maybe I thought it were a little bit further in. Spudwick going down with the only PK, though. Just get res back up. So there's a numbers advantage for the attackers here. They have to act fast because the respawns are so fast for the defenders.
Earthshatter comes in from mute, but doesn't appear to be very effective. Takes down 2 tanks with the Earthshatter, but there's too much HP to charge through.
I think he actually missed the charge because he got booped aside by something. It might have been the halt of Beastmaster. But yeah, they've been held for a bit. They only have 3.5 minutes left, so they're starting to get into their territory where they have to start thinking of switching up comps while they still can. There's a lot of ultimates coming online though, so I think they're gonna go for this last ult push, and if it doesn't work, maybe switch off, but we'll see what they do. They at least have that grab dragon combo, and no Transcendence on the other side, so this could be a big one.
Cheeky hook in onto Relay. He's
the grab gets eaten! Relay's grab gets eaten, and Dragon gets nothing as a result. Relay really is getting shut down in every single conceivable way, and that is, I mean, Tilnit gets some picks afterwards, but that was really the play of UK Grande there. Making sure that grab got no value and the Dragon follow up. They can just step aside. I mean, it looks like a big thing, but you can just, you know, push one of either your A or your D key and just walk away from it.
Yeah. Giving Grande that extra little bit of credit he deserves for eating that. I don't know if it was accidental or not. That's not important.
He was looking on it. Yeah, I mean, he was hooked in. Like, Relay was hooked in by Arma in the first place, and then he really you know, Yuga Grande was constantly on him, just looking, is he going to throw it out here? Because there was a position where some Cruzarias might, and then he was just there with the right click. So yeah, Relay got the Knight there, and they haven't switched off anything just yet. So let's see what the play is here.
Imperial PC threw out the Dragons for that offense. That was only about a minute and a half to go, and already he's almost got 70%
80
on his Dragon Strike.
He'll get it fast. He can probably get it back this fight. He might be able to use it. There's a Transcendence coming out, so looking at we go in hard. Self-Destruct doesn't get anything. Blade comes out from Spud with. There's the Dragon coming, so both Shimadas using their ultimates here. Not getting any
Dragon even again?
I think as well, yeah. No, Yuka Grande really using the defense matrix to a great effect. And the attack just coming right back in there. That is brutal. Yuka Grande really... Yeah, Yuka Grande really on point with the defense matrix. You know, it's not often we get to see that, that everything gets eaten there. That's good play there. X Theory really pulling up this defense. We might actually go into draw territory here with only a minute and 20 seconds left.
Maybe.
They do switch off Spud with to the Junkrat here, so no more Genji. I think that's maybe a wise choice with all that low HP and low damage output that Genji can sometimes provide. At least they can put in some
effective to break this bunker.
Definitely. I mean, he can do a lot more damage against those tanks, gets a lot of splash damage, and therefore charges ultimate pretty fast. But now we're gonna come in here. Mute's just walking through the right side, you know, getting on Tilnit here. Tilnit all the way alone, does manage to roll away, so is safe for the moment, but it gets very low there. Zoning ultimate from Arma. Definitely, and Arma just getting, you know, zoning out the offense because they might have just ran through the Orisa shield. Takes down Darkling on the side. Tilnit with the high noon gets down Relay. Another Dragon comes through, but doesn't get any value again. Arma Beastmaster going down. Might be getting something, especially with Imperial, with just Vera falling as well. I don't know. This looks really to be... Oh, this is trading out numbers, and again, it's just not enough. You need to get more than just trades.
Spudwick going to be staggered here, probably just looking to die as quickly as possible so we can maybe hit Soldier or the Tracer, try and get back quickly.
5 seconds left. Is anyone going to make it?
Doesn't
I think Relay's going to look for it. No, they can't get there, and that's a draw on on Anubis. Well, I mean, they don't call it draw Anubis for nothing, you know.
Indeed.
It's a very, very popular nickname we've had.
Very strong defenses from both sides here. Let's watch this play of the game from the only PK, see what he does. Really using a very effective CC there of the Brigitte. She's very powerful in this way.
Mace to the face, gets 3 or 4 kills there.
Indeed.
Yeah. I mean, they're 2-1 for X-Force right now, but they could really do another one. It's really that what they go for. I think they're discussing it as we go. Yeah, that was Anubis. Both teams just choosing to run it a little differently. X Theory with that triple tank defense, and eventually with the Brigitte as well, and the dive offense from S Theory. It was a really, really differing way they ran the map.
Both teams seem to be very, very good at holding that second point. Not maybe that's just down to the spawns because they could never really hold that first point particularly well. Neither side seems to be a particularly good defensive team. Seem to be both quite offense focused, but when the spawn rates are coming out in favor of the defense, no matter how good as attackers team you are, you just can't break through that particularly easily.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they're gonna go for Nepal, so we're gonna get to see another map, and we're gonna look at. I think it's gonna be the last map as well. We're gonna be looking at the same sort of story that we had on Lijiang, although Nepal has some different characteristics here. I mean, there is still some Pharah play in there, but what is particularly different about Nepal for you, like comp-wise or point-wise? What do you feel?
I think just individually on the maps of Nepal, Village has really called for quite tank-heavy, really brawly, quite messy setup. So like triple tanks, 2 support and a Reaper, perhaps, or maybe just a traditional Goats comp, maybe 3-3 going in there for Village. Sanctum is quite an interesting one because you can dive it to basically just avoid the Greatest Pit of Death, or you can bunker it, try and get those hooks in, get those halts in. It's really, there's a lot of options in the pool.
Definitely the case. Now we are then mean, because on Shrine, I feel a lot of teams differ on the way they do it on Shrine, and that is really where I see the most duality happen. So a lot of teams will still prefer dive there. There's also a lot of teams that will just will prefer this mace to the face type of style, where they just go to point with a heavy comp and just stick there. And even though there's a lot of space to surround them, it doesn't seem like some teams know how to deal with it. So yeah, I mean, I since we're starting on Shrine as well, I really want to see what they do because, like I said, it's a good fire map, but there's also a lot going on with dive and a lot of other things going on. As we said, this is going to be the last map, so we'll see if they end in a draw, in a 2-2 with a one draw map, which would be very exciting because that means it's a very close series.
That would be a very close series.
But yeah, we'll see what happens here because. Right now X Force or X Theory. Well, X Force, it really sounds really good. X Factor as well. There's a lot of things you can do with X here. But yeah, X Theory that we're actually playing here, they will be starting here on the red team, and S Theory, String Theory is on the blue team here. I don't know. I've always found String Theory to be sort of a blue theory. It doesn't really make sense, but that's how I feel.
It's a association, really. Now the X theory is technically 1 if it's a best of 5, because you could think of it as a 2-1 with a draw that could be seen as 3-2.
Yeah.
We'll see what if they win out the 3-1 and a draw, that would be a very convincing win. But if it's 2-2 and a draw, as you said, that would be very, very exciting to see.
It depends on what best of 5 rules you apply, right? Is it the best of 5 or is it the first of 3? Now we are looking into, like I said, this heavy versus dive matchup, and S Theory going for this dive. Whereas as X Theory really goes for this more heavy setup with the pharmacy. Armor does go down very low, does get taken down, but there's a lot of low health bars on the side of the S Theory. And they do start trading a little bit.
Doesn't seem to be the effect. Although Tilnit sitting on top of the elephant on the left side.
Talking about wild flanks, that's basically Tilnit's nature as it seems, and they're still trading out. So it's S Theory does seem to take the point first, but there's not a definitive fight win just yet. Especially with the Pharmacy, Reinhardt, and Zenyatta being there, there's going to be a lot of point presence, and they do almost give it back over.
Both support and the Reinhardt back in on the point would be considered a winnable situation. However, the S Theory really bringing it out the win. It seems a lot of coordination, target focus on point right now.
Yeah, definitely Spudwith just bringing it back on his own essentially. Gets the 3 or 4 kills in that last fight and literally just, gets the Pharmacy, then the Reinhardt, and then you're essentially over as a team on the point.
A lot of ults coming online very soon for both sides. This could get quite scrappy with dragons flying everywhere, hits everywhere. Could be very, very fun to watch indeed.
Yeah, I mean the Dragon Brothers versus the Sniper and the Barrage. Barrage comes out, does get at least Imperial, and Benji also falls as the follow-up. So it's a trade out here, and just Vera being alive might just get the point here for X Theory, and they look seem to be more sustainable. Unfortunately, Self-Destruct gets nothing, but they do stall it out for a little bit longer. Mutes does not have the Prime Rage anymore, but Spudwith again gets the killer on the only PK. There's a dragon coming out, so they're still investing here, and they actually bring it back here. So both tanks going down, both supports going down, and the Shimada brothers really on a roll here.
Yeah, Spudwith's dragons really helping to split the X Theory, so to enable Imperial PC really to get in their face with the Dragon Blade. Very nice play there.
And they seem to be going over to a very interesting comp Tilnid over on the Brigitte and Beastmaster on the Winston, only PK on the Genji. You get Grandi, we'll hang on to the Graviton, it took a long time to charge. I respect that. Armor does go immediately down to Spudwith though, and that is a lot of healing, gone from that Transcendence position eventually, but Benji falls to the other side. There's the Graviton, doesn't get any follow-up. It does seem to be getting Darkling and Spudwith down, so this looks to be numbers advantage here for the red team. And go Tilnid, yeah, they should be taking it back here, but 99-0, that's nothing to sneeze at. Mutes, still saying I'm gonna get a little bit more, but you have 99. Why are you gonna hang around there? Don't give them any more ult charge than they already have.
X Theory can put their success down really to that Graviton. I think without it, they would have struggled to win that, because that early pick onto armor from Spudwith really hampered their attempts to try and take
Definitely.
They got it
But I mean,
anyway.
on the bright side, they still have a Transcendence, and they also build up a Dragon Blade in that time. So that was a really good ult charge fight for them as well. Beastmaster close to their Primal Rage. They're coming with that sound barrier on this theory though, and Beastmaster immediately goes down without using their Primal Rage. There is the Transcendence, and the Blade comes after the only PK, takes out Spud with straight away, so they're trading out the Winston for the Hanzo, and also takes out Benjay. Benjay again going down pretty early in this fight.
I think Darkling initiating with that sound barrier was probably a mistake. Maybe they didn't expect Dragon Blade to come out so soon. But with the only PK having that Dragon Blade out, all you have to do is wait a couple of seconds for that sound barrier to wear off, and then he's in.
Yeah, now I mean we're getting into a first good hold here, and they're still having some ultimates left. Beastmaster now getting up to the primal. You could grant it to the self-destruct, and they have another support ultimate in the Valkyrie of Jaspera. Whereas on the other side, there's no support ultimates. There's just DPS and maybe Mutes getting to the primal rage.
It depends how many people he can damage all at the same time, because Winston does have the potential to deal a lot of damage really quite quickly, like staggering numbers in fact.
Yeah,
He does 60 damage per second. If he does that to 6 people, that's a lot of damage, dude.
I mean, you get Grande and be mech there, but it's worth it if you get both of those DPS out of there. It's just Benji relay, Benji going down again, and then yeah, you know they have to keep staying on that point. Mutes did get the primal rage up, so we'll be able to start stagger a little bit, but only PK has that Dragon Blade just goes to town on the yes theory here.
Deadeye's coming out, see if he can get any value from it. No, he presses cancel on that.
He had to get to the point.
He can't make it.
Yeah. I mean, he couldn't really do anything there. I don't think he had the proper angles there, and yeah. Very good retake though, because they were pushed all the way to 99 before they could retake it. So both teams holding out for a long time before they lost the point. Yeah, well, X-Force, X-Theory actually never really losing it though. Now we get a Sanctum here, so I expect both teams to start with a little bit of a heavier comp here. But like I said, dive is still a possibility, so we'll see what they do here.
Dive is possibility, but apparently not to these teams. They're both running that Orisa Hog combination. I've got to give it to the only PK right now. He's really been clutching it out. We've been seeing the Tilnet show for a long time, but I think it's time PK really comes into his own and shows us all what he's got.
Well, I mean, Tilnet had to go through the Brigade, of course, you know, showing a little bit more of the support role, whereas the only PK did that on Anubis. Now we are seeing, like you said, both teams coming out with the Orisa, but not with the Roadhog, both of them. Actually, X-Theory chose to throw that Diva out of there. They go straight to point. Oh, Relay actually gets pulled off by Beastmaster. That's a big pick. There's a lot of damage and CC threat coming out there. And they're just gonna bunker really up in there.
Yes, Theory.
Yeah. Spudwith is gonna contest a little bit on that fire. There's not a lot they can do to him because they're all boxed up in the little areas. They're only spamming out there, and Spudwith gets free entry damage there. A lot of damage behind that shield that takes out Beastmaster. This is really good positioning here from the pharmacy. Nothing they can really be threatened by. And Beastmaster actually gets pulled off the map by Relay. Combination of the boop and the hook there. Tilnet takes down Spudwith finally, but on the point alone with UK Grande and a Mercy. Probably not really gonna net you that much progress.
Yeah, but it's delay time still doing all they can.
Arma actually gets the boop on Darkling. That's a cheeky pick there.
The opposite number looked at as filthy. But they win it out and potentially too much of a stall. They're gonna give away possibly up to 15 or 20% of the points before they can even regroup.
Yeah. We do see some ultimates on both sides. You know, DPS on the one hand, more support oriented on the defense, on the attackers right now. So X Theory really, you know, working on that one well. Only PK actually getting Imperial. You said he was really coming online, and then Tilnet taking a Relay from the back. Only Spudwith pulling it back, but gets taken down by a Mercy of all things. Of course, the Valkyrie form has that ammo and it has the damage to pull it out. And now we just have Mercies and Orisa fighting out on the point with UK Grande being around there as the baby Diva as well.
Really nice play. I think, yeah, there it is. The Exterior able to pull this map through.
Bit of a quicker retake than we saw on Shrine there. And let's see if then the S Theory actually gets to retake. Didn't quite get to the 50%, but you know, close enough, 2% away. And now there is the sound barrier. There's actually a lot of ultimates coming out from the X Theory, but also from the S Theory.
Indeed. And Just Vera taking down Spudway reminds me of the statistic I saw that actually Mercy does more damage than a fully charged Zarya, but just the way that their movement works, their health pools work, it means she's not able to do that. But really, Mercy does more damage, and I found that quite fun.
Yeah, a lot of damage really coming in from the S-Theory here, and they've just retaken it while we're talking about how much damage Mercy does. They thought, okay, let's just distract him real quick and just get back to the fight, and they actually won it. I think X Factor...
Mercy level damage right there.
I mean, X-Theory was just listening to us. I think that was their problem. They need to just turn up the stream and play.
Yeah, I mean... Gotta hear our sultry tones, man.
True, I mean, hey, I know I'm very entertaining, but there is a limit to what you can do as a player, right? Now, we do see the only PK also going to the Pharah now, so just does manage to get that angle with it. Oh, that self-destruct UK Grande actually gets both supports. That's going to be a very convincing fight very quickly. Spudwood does win the Pharah 1v1, but Tilnit, you know, just takes him out as a response. Actually, Tilnit again was all the way behind the enemy line, was actually on their side of the big abyss. That's just Tilnit style right there. Now he's already on the cliff on the other side, looking into their spawn, I think even.
I was about to say that was quite the unexpected flank Tilnit, but having just watched him for this entire series, it's not particularly unexpected. It's almost expected of him now. Man, he's gonna put it out in future scrims.
They're doing the same thing here, so they're gonna try to run around. No, they're actually gonna drop inside of the underground and then try to push out. Mutes take a lot of damage though, but Tilnit getting taken out by Imperial PC is very important, especially with the Jedi coming out taking now the only PK, and now there's just no damage left in the side of X Theory. They do have a supercharger that lets them a little bit more, and maybe just Vera can get a little bit more, but the Valkyrie being gone also takes out a lot of that pistol damage. Now we do have Beastmaster falling on the point. Arma is there. Self-destruct comes out, takes down Spud with actually, and just Vera manages to get the res on Orisa. That's going to stall out the point out even longer. With UK Grande coming back, this is far from over, especially with Tilnit picking up Benjay. Tilnit coming back in, just immediately gets those two picks, and that might actually pull it back for X Theory. They're going to get it here.
Imperial PC taken down already. He was getting very low to that Widowmaker. She perhaps should have won. But the X Theory have clutched out Shrine. Wonderful play, great fight there at the end.
Yeah, that was really beautiful. Spudman going down to the self-destruct and everything sort of unraveled from there. You know, Tilden coming back in with his 2 kills. We do get a play from Imperial PC, so S Theory not quite out of it just yet. They do get this one. Let's see what he does here. Does take out just Vera, and Beastmaster is part of that as well.
Very nice play there from Imperial PC.
Yeah, he's essentially touched everyone that died in that fight, I think.
Yeah, I think so. The way he tracked Just Vera over onto the point was really quite interesting to see. I wasn't expecting it, but he struggled to find me. He zipped around. I remember he's a higher SR than me.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you can't always put yourself down for your SR, you know. These guys just maybe play a little bit more, and that's fair enough. They try hard, they play, you know, play a lot, and they get rewarded for it. It's good to see that. That was the last map, as we said. I think X Theory taking it down with 3-1 here. They did get a draw on Anubis, so we did play the full 5 maps. And once again, you know, we're here on the midweek madness for Scrim Central. And it was fun, you know, casting this with you, Ninja. It's good to have you around.
Yeah, as the casting virgin, it was really fun to watch, actually. Different perspective on the game. I've watched an unhealthy amount of the Overwatch League, so I had some sort of idea what to be doing, but I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
I mean, you know, we'll maybe see you around. Do you have any social media people could maybe find you on?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, so you can find me at NinjaPNM. Just search up that name. I'm on YouTube as well, the same name. My Instagram as well, it's all the same name because I'm not particularly imaginative like that. But yeah, if you find me, I'll be...
It's mostly easy that other people didn't like steal it from you, like other things happen, you know.
Yeah.
It's mostly very imaginative. Yeah, I'm sure people...
I'll post VOD reviews and updates of what's going on in my life, so follow me on there and don't miss another stream.
Yeah, I mean, I've been Shredking. You can find me on at ShredkingOW on Twitter, ShredkingOW on Twitch, and everything everywhere else. I'm just, you know, Shredking, as you can see it right here. So yeah, again, this was for Scrim Central Midweek Madness. We've had a lot of fun on this stream today. It's casually trying out new things. That's why Ninja was here. New guy. Always good to have them on the block. And yeah, I mean, hit us up, hit Scrim Central up on social media channels. They're underneath the stream as well. And you should be hitting us up. We do more of these things. We do bi-monthly tournaments. We had one last Saturday, so I think the next one's going to be not this weekend, but the weekend after. And there's a lot of good things in the works, so keep posted, and we'll update you when we get it.
Dive goes in. Oh my god, the stick! The stick on Tashkin actually delivers the bomb straight to Icehound. Can you be the hero for your team? Can you be the hero that your team needs? No, it looks like actually you're coming.
Staircase, but look at this engagement from Team Miska.
Oh, Togs!
Apathy!
Oh!
Beat them! Oh my god! They're gonna get the quad barrage!